Oh, we're live. What's up? I'm Zach. I wanted to take just a minute to introduce myself, give you an overview of my philosophy and approach to sales. And if toward the end of the video you feel like, hey, this guy's not so bad, maybe he could help us grow our company, I'll give you a couple ways that you can get a hold of me. My background is really as a high-ticket B2B sales closer. Not that I wouldn't or couldn't do B2C. A lot of the same skills apply. But if you are an agency that offers marketing services, for example, if you are a coach or consultant that offers business consulting or training or even software to other businesses, then I'm really your guy. So there's a couple problems that coaches and agency owners, and really any kind of founder or business owner runs into when they're trying to scale that a closer can really help alleviate. Obviously, when you bring in a closer, we're going to help you drive revenue. A lot of entrepreneurs that I talk to kind of have this secret feeling, and as an entrepreneur myself, I have completely been here, where they don't even want to fill their pipeline full of leads because they feel like they're going to waste, because they can't close. Not getting enough juice for the squeeze, so to speak. And so when you bring in someone whose specialty, whose life is closing deals, you can actually stress less about it, knowing that someone is doing the hard work for you and doing it well. Secondly, you can buy back your time. Title of a book that's pretty popular these days by Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time. But regardless, we always talk about working on your business, working on the business instead of just in the business. And so many coaches, agency owners, founders are spending sometimes 6, 8, even 10 or 12 hours constantly back-to-back meetings on Zoom, trying to close and convert their own leads, trying to book their own meetings even. And you're not able to ascend your leadership and work on the things that are actually going to increase your enterprise value, make you a more sellable or exitable business, or even just give you more freedom in terms of lifestyle or money coming in through the door. When you have consistent acquisition dialed in, your numbers are predictable, it's consistent, you know on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis what's coming through the door, you can actually focus on developing new products, new services, new offerings. You can expand your reach in the market. You can fill the pipeline because you know that the conversion and actually pushing people forward to the bottom line is taken care of. So I want to tell you about my sales philosophy in a second, but first let me just give you a quick rundown of who I am. This is a picture of me on the beach in Tulum, I think. While there's definitely a part of me that is suit and tie, let's make it rain, a huge part of me loves bumming it out at the beach. I really want to learn how to surf. And in the past 3 to 4 years that I've been building my own startup, I've been living around Mexico, around Colombia, and Argentina. And so travel and just hanging out in some cool places is really important to me. For the past 3 or 4 years, I've been building a company called Mission Driven Impact. We're a learning and development company that specifically helps nonprofit fundraisers get the word out, get funding, and grow their organization. In that capacity, I've sold well over 6 figures of high-ticket B2B consulting services in a complex selling environment. So we're talking multiple decision makers, multiple stakeholders, board approvals, sometimes a longer sales cycle. And so that's something that you're struggling with. A lot of entrepreneurs do. I've cracked the code. I'm happy to help you with it as well. And in that niche, which is infamously hard to sell to, and with what we're selling as well, maintaining a 30-day close rate of 40%, which is pretty good. But for me, sales is not just about quote unquote the sale. It's about understanding clear and compelling communication, persuasion, influence. And as a result of being able to transfer that skill to people that I serve, my clients in a fundraising context have been able to double their annual revenue in literally just a few weeks, quadruple their corporate sponsorships year over year. Some people have gone from zero to now raising their first $10,000 or $15,000 unrestricted donations. There was a husband and wife couple who, for 2 years, they were just saying the same thing to the same people. They couldn't figure out how to get outside of their network, how to sell to people who didn't know them. Now they're closing about 1 new donor each week. Their acquisition is completely dialed in. They can move on to bigger and better issues to solve to grow their organization and ultimately have a bigger impact. We've got partnerships going on with Broadway stars and Fortune 100 CEOs, so much more. And all of that is a result of understanding the basis of sales, which again is persuasion and influence. Here's a couple testimonials. Veronica said that working with me translated into a couple things that she needed to take a major leap forward in her organization. Elizabeth, over at an organization called Humans Mediate, was stuck around a branding issue for literal years. And within the first 60 minutes of working together, We cleared it up. We understood how to position ourselves in the market, how to get people to listen, how to get people to take action. And now she's able to grow that organization when she was stuck for years. It didn't have to be. Ashley, who runs an incredible organization called Love Not Lost, just crossed $1 million given in her org. She says Zach's specialty is in helping people craft messages that connect with their desired clients. He's thoughtful in the way he approaches brand messaging and positioning. And we know that is the crux of sales, is leveraging good positioning, good brand messaging, and using that to get people to make a commitment, to make a decision, right? And to undergo a transformation with our product or service. And lastly, Tina, who's an executive at a well-known national tech nonprofit, says that working with Zach allowed me to free up time to focus on other high-impact areas of my job. We did some sales copywriting work together. She said, Zach's a gifted writer and incredibly easy to work with. Thanks, Tina. Okay, here's whether it's a one-call close, a two-call close, or even a longer enterprise-style sales cycle, there's a couple phases that we move through and a couple things we always need to keep in mind. The very first thing is that we've got to disarm our prospects. Always be disarming, as Jeremy Miner says. No one wants to be sold to, and with the stuff that we see on social media, online, we get sold to hundreds of times every day, you know? And so naturally, people have their guard up, right? People don't want to engage in quote unquote sales conversations. And so our primary job, and something we have to do from the beginning all the way throughout, is to be mindful of counteracting sales resistance and lowering the walls and the guard that people have so that we can say, hey, it's you and me on the same side of the table. We're on the same team. We're trying to get you the same result. Let's collaborate together. This is collaborative selling. The second thing is that we spend most of our time in discovery. Sales at the end of the day is a service that matches problems with solutions. And so we got to understand, what are those problems? What are the pain points that are manifesting as a result of living with that problem? What are the consequences if that problem continues? What's the consequences of not taking action? And of course, in sales, super important, we've got to stretch the gap between, sometimes we call it heaven and hell island, or where people are and where people want to be, whether they're running from pain or running towards something else. We got to stretch that gap, and a salesperson's job is then to say, hey, we've got the thing that can close it for you. If someone is the right fit, then we can move into a pitch. And a pitch is not about, just running the standard demo that we have in the tech world or pushing our product on someone, explaining all the features and how great we are. What it is just quickly, clearly, concisely demonstrating how the product or the service, the offer we have is going to solve the problems that we just heard about, right? We're just fitting the puzzle pieces together. The pitch, usually the quickest and most simple part. The number one mistake salespeople make is just relying a lot on the pitch and hoping that they can convince somebody. If you have to convince someone it's not even worth pitching, you've already lost the sale. So that's really important to me there. And then the final thing is that, of course, people's objections are going to come up. People are going to be scared to take the next step, to invest in themselves or in their business. Some people want to defer their responsibility as a decision maker to their spouse, to a business partner, right? And so our job is to meet that with compassion and to guide people through helping them make a decision that ultimately helps themselves. We got to get people to commit to themselves and ultimately to their bottom line. On the next slide, I want to show you a testimonial from Leslie, who's a sweetheart who I worked with a while ago. She was starting a new project and a new initiative, wasn't sure how to position it, how to go to market with the right brand message that would get people excited. So we worked on that, and this is what she had to say on the next slide. If you want your clients to sound like this and your customers to sound like this once they buy from you, then I'll tell you a couple ways that you can get a hold of me. Let's
I just want to say that working
give that a second to load. What is working with Zach like?
Zach is absolutely fabulous. I have recently begun working on a new project, and I was getting a little muddled with my messaging, and I employed the services of Zach, and he very quickly, with insightful questions and very thoughtful responses, helped me untangle my messaging so that I had real clarity around what I'm doing next. So thank you, Zach. And let me just say, if you have a chance to work with Zach, seize it. He's absolutely great.
Oh, Leslie, you're so sweet. What a badass. Thank you. Again, if you want your customers and clients to sound like that when they buy from you, let me tell you a couple ways that you can get a hold of me and see if it's a good fit to work together. If you're watching this on Upwork, if you go to my profile, there's a green button in the top right. It should say something like invite to a job. If you got an open job, I'm happy to take a look at it. But right under that, you can send me a message. Don't worry about it. Just say hi. I'll pop you back, ask you a couple questions to see if we're a good fit. If you happen to be watching this off of Upwork, you can just email at Zach with an H, Z-A-C-H, at missiondrivenimpact.com. Introduce yourself, tell me what you're about and what you're working on, and I'm happy to see if I can help. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.